Hi, I am France Vanstone. I am a French-American self-taught artist. I love using cross-hatching, especially in pen. And this is what we're going to do with this particular mini lesson. We are going to use a very cheap pen. It's a gel pen, and with a smooth piece of paper, we are going to achieve what some of the masters like Michelangelo have achieved centuries ago. My muse is my grandma. I'm going to share this photo with you. I love this particular picture because it offers a lot of wrinkles to draw and a very particular enjoyable experience with the pen. We are going to tackle this without pencil. We're just going to dive right in pen and see what happens. You will see that the paper will have a huge impact on how it comes out. And in this case, I am opting for a very smooth surface, no tooth, just a simple piece of photocopy paper with a simple, cheap pencil. Why cheap? Because I don't want anybody to think that with more expensive materials and supplies, you are actually going to achieve better results. That's not true. So today, gel pen and a piece of photocopy paper and a great muse. Let's have fun.
So one of my strongest beliefs when it comes to drawing anything is that you can grab any piece of equipment, whether it's an expensive pen or not, and you will really come up with not the same results, obviously, but the price of your material is not going to be of any impact on the quality of what you do. And right now, what I have forced myself to do was to use a gel pen, which is a little challenging, and not because it's cheap at all, but because it doesn't really want to do clean lines. It just wants to draw and then draw some more. So it's a really interesting process to try to do what I'm so used to doing, which is cross-hatching, with this kind of material. It's very different. But it works. When cross-hatching, I tend to turn my paper around quite a bit in order to achieve this. My movement doesn't really change. I pull the pen towards me. What does change is the orientation of the paper. And as we get to the cheekbone here, things are getting a little more rounded. And here too, a tiny, tiny bit on the temple. I really enjoy drawing a much older face, and I think there's something absolutely irresistible about drawing a face that has traveled. And again, pulling the pen towards me, trying to convince it to do what I want it to do, which is a bit of a challenge. It's in a bit of a wrinkle here, followed by some values. And because the nose, the bridge of the nose is curved, my cross-hatching follows more or less like a sculptor, you know. if I were to do these entirely straight, it would flatten the surface of the face, and that's the last thing we want. And so what you see here is very much the kind of exercise that we do in my cross-hatching class. Except we sometimes use pen, we sometimes use pencil, and my preference always goes for ballpoint because it has almost as much versatility than a pencil does. As opposed to this thing that I'm using right now, this gel pen, as you can see, it tends to drool a little bit. But I mean, it's not annoying to the point that you cannot use it. It's just, okay, let's try to challenge ourselves and try to use a tool that is really not meant for drawing, but that can deliver in its own way, I would say. I always start cross-hatching in the darker corners of a face. For instance, here it's fairly dark. We also have a portion here which is fairly dark as well. So I'm going to go in several directions and darken this. I really didn't think that I could get anywhere with this kind of pen. But again, I'm trying to get it to do something that it's not used to doing, which is making clean lines of almost different values. See how some of them are much thicker than others, and how we've managed to get some dark values here. Here as well. So, what pen do you have lying around with you in your close vicinity that you would like to challenge to see what it can do for you? Maybe it's exactly this kind of pen. Maybe it is precisely this brand, this model. Try it. Don't get frustrated. Keep going. I didn't think this was going to work. And it may still not work great, but I'm going to plow through and see if, when I consider myself done with this particular portrait, if I've got results that I can live with. Adding a little more pressure, the way I would write, it really starts behaving in a way that I really love. Like here, you see this? We've achieved a nice dark area here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the cheek a little later, but I really want to get to this area here. But not rushing, of course. We're not rushing this. We're just trying to respect what the reference photo tells us. You know, where are the areas that should be left blank? This is one of them. This is where light hits, and it should be left alone. Continuing with the outline of the face. Okay, let's see if I'm doing this right. Yes, there seems to be a little wrinkle here. And this will be her chin, which I don't want to do too harshly right now. I'm more interested in building the values here. in the crease of her mouth. And on her cheek here. And being really careful to leave the area with a lot of light entirely untouched so that it really looks like the light which comes in this direction is there. You know, if I drown a drawing in cross-hatching, it's not going to work. The idea is to use a little bit of restraint as well. Okay, we have a face. We have a face.
And just like that, we did cross-hatching. I truly hope that you were drawing along and that you really enjoyed trying this technique, which allows you to create really interesting volume, light, without reverting to any blending or anything like this. So I invite you to post your work on Sketchy Art School. It's a great place. This is where we all come together and we share our work and we give feedback to one another. It's very positive. You will get a great boost from sharing your work with other people who are also learning just like you.